It seems to me that a lot of learning and emotional intelligence is what's called osmotic. It's because you're a model and people absorb it. Kids absorb it. Kids look to adults for how to behave. So you're teaching lessons for better or for worse in emotional intelligence all the time you're with a kid. And the more time you spend together, the better, if the lessons are good ones.
Wow. I have two last questions for these conversations. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And one question is about thinking, because Vivian and I, we've been on the quest to help people to improve their ability to think also, because we see there's so many noises these days that are affecting our ability to think. So the question for you, Daniel, is how have you been growing your ability to think?
I try to resist my phone. Our phones are our best friends and our worst enemies for thinking. The reason being, there's a direct relationship between how emotionally unregulated you are and poor thinking, or being calm and clear, managing your upsetting emotions. That helps you think the most clearly. And our phones have all of our distractions. Everything that you like to see, everything you like to hear is there in your phone in an instant. So being able to resist, to not pick up that phone and look at all the things that distract you, but keep your mind and your focus on the task at hand, I think that's the most important thing for thinking well.
We talk to the great leaders and great people like you, and we ask the question like, how have you been helping yourself to expand thinking?
For me, I've always, as I mentioned earlier, it's through people. People help me expand my thinking. And by the way, and so does AI. I just treat AI like a person. And so I ask it questions and I have conversations with it. I can have an hour-long conversation with AI about a topic that I learned from. And I will also do that with a person. I recently was at this camp, and I met the gentleman who was the co-founder of Instagram. And I just, got into a deep conversation with him about a number of things, and I learned so much. So to me, my opportunity for learning and thinking is through people and AI now.
Wow.
But you got to be curious. You've got to ask good questions.
Wow. How have you been growing your ability to think so beautifully like this?
That's a good question. I think one of the, I think it's an ongoing challenge. It's presents itself in different ways in the different roles that I've done, but it's always, if we think about the quadrants of important and non-important, urgent and non-urgent, and ideally we would be spending our times only on the important things. But so often we are confronted with something that is appearing as urgent, but it's not that critical, deep, important work. And so it's always a balance of that tension, and it's always coming back to that. How can I reset, and how do I kind of triage my work so that I am giving tending and care to that non-urgent and important work? And of course, urgent, important always gets prioritized. But when something isn't a phone call or an email in the inbox or something else that's presenting. Maybe it's a conversation from a member of the community who grabs me in the grocery store and wants to share their feelings about some direction or decision the city has made. It's important to listen. Everyone wants to be seen and heard, and we endeavor to honor that at all times. But also, how do we do the most good for the most people? And that is always going back to, am I being intentional about doing what's most important? And it's a constant rebalancing and management of that. So, and part of that is participating in conversations like this. It's listening to the TED Talks. It's being on that continuous learning journey to understand how are other people doing this work too, right? I love listening to podcasts. It's how I end every day is listening to podcasts, both from strategic thinkers in the world, people that help me make sense of the news, but also just other change makers and people doing good things all around the world. I think we're living in such a lucky time where we have this share of information and strategies for so many people to do good.
Beautiful. So every opportunity like this is a wonderful opportunity for us to ask, the secrets behind thinking, right? So Holger, how have you been growing your ability to think over the years?
Oh my gosh. How did I grow my ability to think? Well, probably one. I mean, there might be different ways. First of all, I'm not sure about my ability to have grown my thinking. But clearly, I mean, I'm a curious student, so I'm reading a lot of books. And I make it a habit, to say, what is the one or two or three important ideas that I wanna keep. And by the way, a lot of the books have 300 pages and they don't even have, I mean, they have one idea, but they turn it into 300 pages. Sometimes it's very frustrating for me, right? But there's most of the time, if they passed a certain threshold of popularity, they got a few good ideas and I capture them. And in a way, in my little journal, but not just as words of wisdom, but the way I read them is always through the lens of how can I engage other people in that conversation. So it is, more often than not, starts with a question and then said, how about this or how about that? So to give you an example, I mean, there's fantastic books out there, Atomic Habits, Immunity to Change, and I mean, they take a lot of pages, but the point is they got some. I always read them with the filter of how can I take what's in there to engage people in a very meaningful conversation that gets them to a better place. not just reading them for insight or reading them for, oh, that's interesting, oh, that's a nice story. No. Is there anything useful to engage a group of people to be at a better place of thinking and acting, of course? And you'd be surprised how little from a book is left on that. But if you had all these kind of pearls, around it, you get to a powerful repertoire of interventions that now you just need to listen to a group to see which of those pearls really would help them.
Wow.
And you are a curious reader, I'm sure. I mean, you are probably a reading maniac. I mean, you're reading everything that's around, right? I'm sure.
Yeah.